After I got my video with the unnamed doctor, who I will not say right now, but people can go to my ROKFIN channel. I'll just say it's Dr. RH. Okay. Look for Dr. RH. British accent. So they removed my video with him for medical misinformation. So I got my first, well, it was a warning technically, but it's really a strike because, you know, it sets the time clock is now underway for when I get locked out of my channel. Because if I get another one, I'm out for a week. So I started looking up, okay, like what is there other medical, like according to their community guidelines, which I'm going to show everybody in a second, are there other videos out there that the corporate news has done that is spreading, according to YouTube, medical misinformation that are still there? So I put this video up on my locals page, so you guys can go, if you want to go watch this again, AlisonMorrow.locals.com.
CVS and Walgreens warning that demand for hand sanitizers, cleaning wipes, and face masks could lead to shortages. But how useful are those masks we keep seeing?
But experts caution masks are not always the answer. If you're sick or somebody in the family is sick, then doctors say the mask is an effective way to prevent that virus from spreading. But in a public place, not so much.
I think there is some solace in this idea that the vast majority of people aren't going to get sick from this. I don't want to minimize this. This has reminded people, I think, a little bit of just flu in general. Even the president the other day was surprised at that conference that this many people die of flu every year. Tens of thousands of people die of flu every year. Yes, look at this. You compare SARS, MERS, H1N1, and coronavirus. I don't know how well you can see
coronavirus is the purple, the sort of fuchsia, right?
That's right. So coronavirus is the purple. Look at H1N1 sort of took off there. And 9-week period, which is right there, you see that coronavirus is actually higher than where H1N1 was at that point at 9 weeks. Now, if you carry that particular graphic out further, at a year, we saw part of it. H1N1 went up to about 60 million people in the United States. There it is there. It became endemic, as they say. H1N1 became a circulating pathogen around the entire world.
If you look at other emerging pathogens, I worked a lot in HIV. It took us 20 years to understand many of the rules that govern HIV. We've had about 20 days to understand COVID-19.
Just ended it there because I wanted to end with the guy saying, we don't really know what we're talking about because we've only had, so much time. It takes us 2 decades to understand. And yet then YouTube has these fossilized community guidelines where you're not allowed to ask any questions. You have this dude on CNN who's like, we don't know. It took us 20 years to figure out AIDS. And we've got like one, he's like 20 days or whatever. And then you heard Brian Williams, Lester Holt, sorry. Brian Williams used to be Nightly News, but now we know where he is.
They all sound the same.
Yeah, sorry. The Lester Holt show, with the guy who's like, do masks work? Well, in public, if you're going to transmit, not so much. You're like, whoa, wait a second. And I want to show everybody here the guidelines. So, I'm not making this up. Let's go take a quick look at the guidelines that were violated in those 3 videos, which are still up. And again, we're talking to Matt today because he just had a video that was caused his entire channel to be demonetized from 2014 for something like ridiculous. We have to go back and watch the beginning if you want to see that again. So, hang on a second. Here we go. I gotta share the right screen. It's just interesting because this community guide, as you know, the medical misinformation policy for COVID-19 is extremely long. And so, the treatment, so this is treatment misinformation, but prevention. So, claims that masks do not play a role in preventing the contraction or transmission of COVID-19. So the first one with Lester Holt violates that. Okay. What was the second one again? Oh, that it says like something to do with the flu, right? And so, yeah, there's stuff in here about that it's not that bad. Oh yeah, here we go. Claims that the symptoms, death rates, or contagiousness of COVID-19 are less severe or equally as severe as the common cold or seasonal flu. Okay, so they violated that one. And then the other one I just put in wasn't necessarily a violation, just him saying like, we don't really even know what we're talking about, which is exactly the point. It's like, that's why doctors were coming out and saying, hey, this is what I use to treat my patients with. Maybe it would help you, and getting slapped down because, well, that's medical misinformation. Wait a second. How is science not always going to be medical misinformation if science is the very practice of discovering new things, according to YouTube? It's just impossible to do science on YouTube, or journalism for that matter. You can't really do journalism on YouTube unless you're a corporate entity, because obviously journalism also is about questioning narratives and proposing new ideas. And you can't do that if the community guidelines are all about protecting the status quo.
Yeah. And there's that famous example of Dr. Fauci telling people not to wear masks on 60 Minutes.
I mean, it's just, to me, I just want people to know that if you're walking around with this idea in your head that it's just about getting rid of misinformation or harmful content or whatever else, it's not. It's about creating a cast of safe characters that basically are part of the same corporate class as YouTube and the other platforms, and allowing them to, they can basically say the same thing. And those of us out there, like Susan Wojcicki said, the guy in the basement, you could be Jesus come back to earth, and it wouldn't matter if you were saying something that, they just didn't like. And you could even be saying the exact same thing that the corporate news is saying, it turns out. And you're still gonna face the consequences that they are not going to face. And so it should be very clear to all of us that they are setting it up, especially like going after somebody like you. I mean, how many subscribers do you have, Matt?
Like 50,000.
Okay. So it's like you have 50,000 subscribers. Yeah. I know. I just, to go after somebody like you for little parody videos, and especially videos from 7 years ago, or like your last video was already deleted. I mean, this doesn't even make any sense, especially if the whole point is, spreading. Okay. Cause let's look at this. Like, this is what the point is about for all of their community guidelines, but this is specifically medical misinformation. But for all of them, it says YouTube doesn't allow content that spreads medical misinformation. Okay. So you have to be actively spreading it. You even had this video, it wasn't spreading because it wasn't there. It wasn't public, and they still went after you for that. How is that
public? And I had deleted it after they give me a warning. I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself, but this is insane. They deleted 3 of these unpublished rough cuts that I had uploaded for approval. They deleted 3 of them and said this is a warning. And so I'm like, oh fuck, I'm going to delete all of them.
Yeah.
Since there's an issue. Then they gave me a strike the next day for the videos I had already deleted.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. You'd think if you were going to if you were really concerned about these sort of, medical misinformation or harmful content or domestic extremism or whatever, like how is a deleted video promoting any of those things? It's not spreading anything. It's not even there. That's why it just doesn't make sense.
The video is not promoting shit.
That's why I just, like I said, again, I feel like there's something up with the people that make it on some kind of list, and they're just digging through stuff now. And I don't know how you even fight that at this point.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. And I had a copyright issue on that video was from 2019. And it just seemed out of the blue. It was right after the ivermectin thing. It just seemed strange because it had been approved before. See, the thing is, when I had uploaded it and before I published it in 2019, YouTube will tell you they'll recognize copyrights, music in this case, if they're there, and they'll let you know if it's okay or not. Because typically, corporations will, if they can take revenue from you instead of deleting it, it's in their interest to just take the revenue. So nowadays, you actually can. Typically, you're okay. It's okay to upload copywritten content. And that's how they okayed it. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't okay to make money off my video anymore. Like, why would you? That just makes no sense. And also, if you can twist a 15-minute Starbucks commercial parody into supporting violent criminal organizations, you can twist anything into anything. And that's what people don't understand. And even at 50,000 subscribers, yes, I'm a relatively very small YouTube channel. But think about the people there's way more people who are infinitely smaller, and I was infinitely smaller for a very long time. So and there's no way if this shit happens to them, there's no way that's going to get overturned. The only hope of getting the shit overturned is if you get enough people to retweet and to make a a storm, and so that they have to respond. That's the only way it's done. The only way to do it.
Well, if you're interested, I just checked my monetization on this, and they automatically put me as demonetized.
Wow. Wow.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
what have you done? I don't like. What could we?
Well, it could be your name because I hashtagged your name in the description. It also could be, like I said, YouTube has demonetized him, saying, citing their violent criminal organization policy or something. So, it's obviously an AI thing right now because it was just an immediate thing. Yeah. But, I don't know what part of the description that is flagged. It could be your name. I should have just put the description like just you, Matterman, just see if I'm going to do that next time. I'm just going to do a live stream where I just literally all I do is like say your name or something and just see what happens if YouTube demonetizes me for that. Well, what do you think about the fact that I'm just curious your thoughts on, since I was showing that video about the corporate news, what do you think about their role in all of this and how they get to fly under the radar with the stupid things they say?
So I've got an incredible example for you. Well, first, I agree with everything you've already said about how the corporations, the mainstream media corporations, they're obviously on a different playing field. They're not treated the same. If they did get treated the same, or if the rules were enforced in the same way, their channels would have been removed a long time ago.
I love wine, and my favorite kind of wine is a high altitude Argentinian Malbec. And now you can get 50% off some of my favorite bottles and 50% off shipping by visiting AllisonWinePromo.com. That's Allison with 1L, winepromo.com. These wines come from one of the most isolated winemaking regions in the world, with the Andes Mountains on one side and desert on the other. One of the Malbecs is from the third highest vineyard in the world at 8,950 feet. The reason I love these wines is the altitude means that the UV rays beating down on the grapes is making them work harder, and doctors I talk to say they have higher antioxidant properties. Again, it's AllisonWinePromo.com, Allison with 1L, winepromo.com.